Hello everyone, this is Darko 2012 for Global Government News. I'm covering an article titled Bathroom Visits Now Considered Potential Terrorism, and it was posted on the 28th of December 2009. As a result of the highly suspicious incident on Christmas Day where a Nigerian man on a terror watch list with no passport and explosive materials was allowed to board Delta Flight 253, suffocating security paranoia has been implemented to the point where bathroom visits are now considered potential terrorism. Another Nigerian man who became ill and was forced to spend a considerable amount of time in a toilet because the focal point of another terror scare yesterday after pilots boarded Delta 253, the same plane involved in a last week's incident, requested emergency assistance upon landing. The Joint Terrorism Task Force on Homeland Security descended to investigate the crisis, and President Obama was even informed of the deadly security threat prompted by the man taking a dump. After hours of media frothing about the second terrorist incident, the truth finally emerged. A passenger on today's Northwest Flight 253 from Amsterdam to Detroit spent an unusually long time in the aircraft lavatory, Homeland Security Press Secretary Sarah Kuban said in a statement. The passenger in question, a Nigerian national, was removed from the flight and interviewed by FBI. Indications at this time are that the individual's behavior is due to legitimate illnesses and no other suspicious behavior or materials have been found. And yet this farce represents merely the tip of the iceberg in terms of the intensified harassment and lunacy now being witnessed in airports across the world, all in the name of preventing a threat that in reality is less deadly than the lightning strikes and peanut allergies, both of which have killed more Americans over the past few decades than terrorism. If you thought that mothers having to taste their own breast milk and naked body scans was a little over the top, it's going to get worse as a result of an incident that has all the hallmarks of a staged event. By that they mean government-sponsored terrorism or false flag terrorism. Body searches, baggage searches, and vehicle searches, even outside of the airport, are now taking place with a wanton disregard for the Fourth Amendment. Authorities are too busy shaking down grandma to really care about how a man who was known to be a security threat was on a terror watch list, had no passport, and had explosive materials embedded in his clothing, was allowed to board a plane aided by a sharp-dressed man who lied about his circumstances. Once again, Americans who will willfully endure whatever humiliation they are ordered to undergo are being trained to obey the most ridiculous rules in the airport so that similar measures can eventually become a normal routine on the streets, in shopping malls, and in other places of public gathering. Which is a good point because that's exactly what they're doing. They're using the airports and now the transits, the railways, the train stations, as a pretext or as like a kind of a training conditioning apparatus to get the public used to being treated like criminals everywhere they go, right? Because they know the one thing that you got to do is move around, right? So, and the airport is a good way to have all your security measures introduced to the public because they need to fly, right? And if you think that's totally ridiculous, what I'm saying, then all I have to say is it's my belief that the only terrorists that are going to actually be able to carry out a terrorist attack are not the actual terrorists, right? They're not the grassroots, hala hala, screaming whatever it is, phrase that they use, right? It's usually going to be fake terrorists or terrorists or people who are either drugged up or are getting paid or whatever. They're going to be supported by the actual government they're carrying the terrorist attack out on. And so what I'm getting at is no matter how much security gets ramped up and how many liberties are lost in the name of saving you, it won't save you because the real terrorists are going to be stopped by just simple hey, you got a passport, you look suspicious, kind of those type simple measures. You'll catch a terrorist. But it doesn't really matter because the more the government fails, right, as far as security measures go, which are being done purposely, right? These people are being allowed to, like a 9/11 where they train in the U.S. and and they get actually aided by certain people, like this gentleman was, or this terrorist, I guess, was aided by a sharp-dressed man, who's possibly the FBI, an FBI agent or some agent who allowed him to get in there. So the real terrorists don't really get through these screenings or these measures, security measures. It's the fake terrorists who are escorted past these security gates. But just finishing up, this is all being metered out in the name of protecting the sheeple from a terrorist threat that the government, through its own deliberate actions, manufactured alerts, and intelligent failures, has sought to proliferate at every turn. I want to check out this video here. And I'm really hoping that that the American people or other people around the world just get sick enough to where they're just like, you know what, I'm not gonna fly. I know that sucks because, like I said, people have to fly, right? They have to, businessmen and people that are moving and whatnot. But the airlines are gonna lose more money because people are just gonna get fed up with this and they're not gonna travel at all. So let's check this out.
Air travelers in the U.S. got a second scare Sunday when the crew on the same Northwest Airlines flight that was attacked on Christmas became concerned after a Nigerian passenger got sick and spent about an hour locked in the bathroom. Once again, the flight originated in Amsterdam and was headed for Detroit. Passengers on board the flight appeared calm once they were on the ground.
There was a little argument between a guy and the flight crew, but the police came and everything is fine now.
He was a tall guy,
Color
about gray hair, about 55 years old.
Black, white?
White.
Two law enforcement officials who spoke about the incident anonymously said the crew acted out of an abundance of caution. In fact, passengers on board the flight said they noticed an increase in security while they were in the air.
It's been upgraded. There's definitely a lot more security.
Even 1 hour before, you're not supposed to get up and stow away all your pillows and everything away.
After it had landed, the plane was taken to a remote location for screening before passengers were let off. Authorities say when investigators interviewed the sick passenger, they learned he was a legitimate businessman who posed no threat to the plane. Carlotta Bradley, The Associated Press.
So there you go, folks. They've already it's already changed. They've already ramped it up. All they needed is a reason to start treating people like terrorist suspects. Yeah, in the movie Anger Management, where Adam Sandler, gets treated like a terrorist suspect, basically. That's no joke. That's how it really is. I mean, when you're on a plane, those stewardesses are like, they just reign over you, man. When I guess the story as far as the video, this whole incident being recorded on video camera, right? It was the stewardess that was trying to stop the person who was video cameraing the guy, right? Before it even happened, and then as it was happening, she was trying to wrestle the camera out of his hands. So there is no freedom whatsoever. I know, it's okay to give up a little bit of freedom for security when you're on an airplane, but at the same time, it's like you have to sit down literally now. No blankets, keep your hands visible. They're going to be looking at you, and this gives a chilling effect to all the stewardesses, man, where they're just looking at you thinking that every person, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, you're all possible terrorists now. And, if you want another drink or you're thirsty or you're like me, you have to go number one a lot, you're screwed, You can say you don't drink, whatever, but you're screwed, You can't get up to go to the bathroom an hour, before landing. That's crazy. But, I mean, if you have any kind of, if you start to get a little upset with the service that you're getting, you can get a federal, you can be charged with a federal crime under the Patriot Act. So that is in effect now. So be careful when you're on a plane and you're getting crappy service, because once you step off that flight, boom, you're getting met by TSA and then taken off to the FBI and eventually getting slapped with a federal offense. So